Okay, thank you.
I think, hold on one second. Okay, it is.
All righty. Ready for the recording started? All righty. Get to see who's in the room here. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Brother Joe, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Brother Chucky. How you doing?
Super fantastic.
Super fantastic. Glad to hear it, brother. Glad to hear it. Glad to see you. Glad to be here again. Not to prolong things or make things long, just to be in your presence and to be in the presence of other brothers. That's a blessing that we're back here again together. So we're gonna move forward from that. Who else is just kind of giving a general check in the room? I thought I saw Jerry in the room.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, life. How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
All right, well, good to have you back, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Who else is in the room here? Anybody else want to kind of chime in and say I'm in the room? I guess we'll get around to that as we move along. First of all, let me just pull back for a moment. Let's welcome everybody into Thursday Night Locker Room again. And my name is Joe Williams. Hold on. I'm over here messing up something. Hello?
We hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. Joe Williams, and I'll be your host along with Melendo Fields. Is not in tonight, but he's working tonight, and we may have Brother Harlan Bell in the room, and we may have Brother Eric Shaw in the room. Are you in the room, Eric? We might haven't made it yet, but again, we thank you for being here. Any other people that may haven't been in the room before, we just thank God that we're able to be here. And I think before we get started with anything, we want to give kudos to our Lord and Savior. That's so very important. So we'll go to the Lord in prayer, and then we will start with the subject matter. But let's give honor to our Father. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day. As one of my colleagues at church say, on this side of heaven. We thank you for just the breath that we have in our body. We have the tendency to learn. The more we learn of you, the more we're thankful. Thankful for just the gift of life. Thankful that I have brothers and sisters on the journey with me to life and to bring the kingdom into the earth school. We'll never feel alone on this journey because it is a journey and a path that's not traveled by many. But once we learn the truth, we're mandated to spread the truth. Matter of fact, love conquers all. So we move in love. True compassion is love in action. So Father, we come to just Midrash, keep some strength with men that are wanting to do the right thing. So we ask you, Father, to be with us as we move forward and move your kingdom forward. These are the blessings we ask in our Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All righty. Well, we started. Last week was a great week, and I consider any time we come in and talk about the Lord that it's a great time of fellowship. And we was talking about Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Now what? And we had many thoughts on that, but the truth of the matter is, everybody had situations that they've gone through have gone through, continuously going through, and found some means of talking about it and coming to the revelation that they have to move on. It takes a lot out sometime, but again, we have to realize again, and I don't want to sound repetitious, is that we're not alone. We don't battle for victory. We battle from victory, and to know God is with us. And with that said, I want to talk a little bit more about the subject at hand and the subject matter. This week, we're talking about the topic of awakening from attention deficit and intentional deficit disorder. And you may say, what does that mean? Awakening from attention deficit. Anytime you have a deficit, that means basically you're operating, not in a positive order. You're operating lower than one should be. And intention, it's so much now pulls on you for your attention. You have different social media, you have different news, you have newsreel, you have this going on over here. Even in certain organizational structures, you can overload yourself. That they want to put you on this, put you on that. And for yourself, you spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
You can be, as the older people would say, you see yourself coming and going, and you don't even know who you are half of the time, and that's pulling on oneself. So, that's kind of the thing of finding that place where you can take care of yourself, or you'll be left, in a state of, again, kind of in la-la land or whatever you want to call it. But you got to find some time for yourself and realize you can't be everything to everybody. And I want to get some input from all here as when they hear that statement, what comes to heart? And we'll start with you, Jerry. When you hear awakening from attention deficit and intentional deficit disorder, what comes to heart to you?
One thing, you got to have some peace of mind.
Okay.
Peace of mind, because, hey, you could be going this way, that way, this way. And especially here in Houston, everything moves so fast. So fast. If you don't get yourself caught up in that, just slow the pace down just a little bit. Slow it down just a little bit.
Okay. Do you have to know that you're in that to slow it down?
Well, you got to slow your own self down.
Okay.
Because, you can't.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Talk to me about that. Come on.
And, it's.
Sound like you've been there. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just have to get to know people.
Okay.
Sometimes, sometimes you think people you think your friend is not always your friend.
Okay.
You have to be careful. Have to be careful.
Have to be careful, or do you have to go through things with people to really find out are they your true friends? Going through it, they reveal themselves. Situations like that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I think I'm hearing from you is that, you know, you said something early on. You said you got to find peace. And how do you find that? What gets you to that state? You know,
Sometimes listen to the word.
Okay, come on.
And therefore you listen to the word. And because like I said, you might be going through all kinds of change, but see, the Lord always in control.
Okay.
He's in control. And just ask him to give you strength to keep going. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying to you, I mean, basically what you're saying, the peace that surpasses all understanding is not something you find outside of you. You have to find. Yeah.
No. Like I say, you all you get slower you wise as you get supposed to.
Okay. But you have to seek that, don't you, my friend? Don't you have to seek?
You gotta seek it. You got to.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of goes back to putting your intention, our attention, in one direction, and in that which is going to make you better. That's what I was saying. Most people rather die than think, so that's what they do. A lot of people don't want to think. A lot of people, you know, want to be here, there, and everywhere, and really they don't know where they are. So that's what I was saying. You know, when it comes to attention deficit disorder, and people in general, they rather die than think, because thinking is hard work. But you can't go through this world sleepwalking, because that's what the enemy wants. So you can't, it comes to a point. That's why I was saying, you know, older people used to tell us back in the day when you were coming up, pay attention.
Yeah.
And they meant also listen, pay attention to what's going on, be attentive to that.
Yeah.
You know, don't be walking around with blinders on, even in an environment wherever, if you're coming out of it, look both ways. Don't just walk out, you know. I mean, you see, I'm not putting anybody down. You see people walking with cell phones, their head down, and a walk in a manhole. It's just
walk over you.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm saying, you know, a lot is in that. We have to really, the enemy is prevalent, and you have to be aware of the tactics of the enemy, discouragement, distraction, all of those things to pull you out of you. So at some point, you have to pay attention to what's going on around you and be intentional in getting out of attention deficit and having an intentional deficit. You said, you know, so it, you know, that's kind of what it is if you intentional about doing something different, because, you know, usually at the end of the year, first of the year, a lot of people will make New Year's resolutions. You know, they say they want to be healthier, to go to the gym, want to change the way they eat or whatever. But when you make those resolutions, you have to be intentional on what you're trying to do with those. I mean, if you're gonna be healthier, I mean, you have to say you wanted to lose weight or whatever. You can't eat the same thing you've been eating. You got to focus on something different that's gonna work out with your program, and you have to keep your interest in that direction, or you be sidetracked and do something else different, you know.
Right.
And a lot of time people make New Year's resolution, and it takes focus, it takes a commitment, all of those things to get you to that place where you're trying to go. But you definitely can't do the things you used to do to get to that point. So what I'm saying, even in this time we're in the room, we come here to offer some, you know, we don't solve problems. We just say, maybe consider this. Or if it's the word of God, we say, consider listening and abiding by this. You know, again, the subject matter we're talking about is awakening from an attention deficit disorder and attention deficit disorder. Anybody else in the room want to do some comments? Chuck, are you in the room? Could you have any thoughts on that?
Something that Jerry said earlier, I just wanted to offer up a thought. A lot of people say I multitask, but if you do your research on that, multitask does not work.
Okay.
So we have to be intentional in our approach to things. You know, like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so something that he said, and I can't remember exactly, but something I'm trying to teach myself is, you know, prioritize what I got to do and focus on that one project until it's time to move on to the next. And another thing I want to offer up, something that I wish I wouldn't have gotten so old before I realized that the importance of solitude.
Okay.
Difference between loneliness and solitude. And solitude for me now is like my favorite drug. You know, every morning when I can, I start early with a cup of coffee, and there's this river here in this area. And I ride down by the river, and I don't know if it's meditating because I don't know a lot about meditation, but
Right.
I do know that I start my day in solitude to get my thoughts together,
Mhm.
prioritize what I do. So one of the things I heard was it is important, you know, the self-love is real. It's important for you to quiet your mind. And,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's even Jesus stole away.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So that's my input for right now. And let me know when you want me to talk about the other thing that you text me about.
Oh, absolutely. And we're gonna bring into the room things that and what Chuck is talking about. We want to do things in the room that's gonna push us forward. You know, the thing about it, and we talked about earlier on how our cheese had moved. It's gotten old. We talked about that a few weeks ago and started off with that subject matter. But the thing about it, anybody that's in the room that have some positive things to bring in here to move us forward, because you know we have been somewhat shocked because maybe things didn't work out the way we wanted to, but we can't stay stuck when we have all of this availability technology. And Chucky gonna talk a little bit about that later on tonight, and wanted to bring in some thoughts that we can do and utilize to push us forward. But the whole thing is within ourselves. We got to do this. We got to stay within ourselves and build ourselves up from inside out, rising up the spiritual man. That's one of the things we need to do. Welcome to the room, Ernest. We're talking
Oh,
about,
okay.
let me go look at my subject matter. I should know about heart, but again, I've been talking on some other stuff too. So we're talking about subject matter is awakening from attention deficit disorder and intentional deficit disorder. And before you came in the room, we was talking about how everything pulls for your attention. News media, could be family, could be church organization, could be you pull so long you feel like an octopus, everybody pulling on you all the time, to the point, you know, when you're doing that, you're trying to do too many things and you pull yourself out of yourself. And before you know, you lose attention. I was saying earlier, older folks used to tell us, pay attention, boy. Be aware. So that's kind of where we are on that part. Did you have any comments on that, Ernest?
Not at the moment, but like I said, I just got on, but I I'm kind of relating to it a little bit, but I just want to listen a little bit more so I can get a clear clarity on it.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, we talk about being intentional on what you're trying to do. We talked a little bit about we make New Year's resolutions. And sometimes we need to be New Year's solutions. Or either the
Right,
person is trying basically to do something different, you got to be intentional about it. For instance, if you
right,
want to do, if you're intentional about your health and wealth and all of that, then there are certain things you got to do that pushes you towards that. First of all, you got to
right,
say you want to do this, and that's going to take you doing something different. That's going to take
right,
you not eating the same thing you used to eat. That's going to take, okay, I look and find out other things I need to put through my system along with the way. So with that, if you're trying to do anything, your interest got to go in that direction.
yeah, okay,
And when you do that, that's intentional. And then when you're intentional with sticking with something, you're gonna be driven to do that. That's
right,
basically one of the things. And we was talking about, a little bit last week. We was talking about Humpty Dumpty fell off. Now what? And we was elaborated on that. Now we got to be intentional on moving the kingdom forward, but we can do it in such a setting where we all bring some positive thing to give to each other to move us forward. And I think some of the thing about that is, first of all, let's communicate with each other and talk about these different things. So that's the gist of being intentional and paying attention. In these times we are in, folks, this is real. The enemy don't want you to pay attention, but we have to rise above that in what we do, how we do it. And if we got something to bring to the room, and like I say, Chucky, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about technology and how we can use that to move us forward. Because if we don't have these settings where we communicate with each other and lift each other, then separate from each other, we can still function. But if we all go together, we all learn together, we're going to lift each other. And this group is going to be something that pushes us forward and positivity. So if one of us have situation, and we all will, we can come
yeah,
here and get some type of resolution. Anybody else moving around the room? And anybody else want to talk a little bit on the subject matter? Anyone?
well, I'll say this much, it's just like, it's like, having faith. We know faith ain't no good without the work. You got to do the work. You got to have the work in to have the faith. And you set yourself up when you say, I intended to do this. You got to, when you say you intended to do this, you got to stay in focus. You got to stay focused on the goal that is hand. You intended to do this. I intended to do that. A lot of times we'll say, well, I ain't got around to it yet, but I intended to do it. That's because we lose focus. If we
Yes.
don't stay focused on what we intended to do, it ain't gonna never get done. And I catch myself a lot of times saying, well, I intended to do it. And I got to get out of that that, uh, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
Procrastination?
Yeah, more or less,
Yes, yes.
if you intended to do this, don't be putting it off. That I can do it tomorrow. No, tomorrow ain't promised to you. First of all,
Right.
it ain't promised to you because people, you know it and I know it. You can look at the news, young and old, leaving here every day. So you talk about, well, I ain't got around to it yet. Well, the question is, are you focused, or when are you going to get around to it? You waiting on tomorrow. You may not even wake up tomorrow.
That's right.
So therefore, what you intended to do, it ain't gonna get done.
Okay.
And then you done left a loved one or someone in the shadows. Well, he just hadn't got around to it. He intended to do it. That ain't no good.
No, it's not.
It ain't no good. You know, if you're gonna do something, do it. And I catch myself in that rat race because we get so busy, tied up to the time to it's like I'm not a clone. I tell them that at work all the time. I'm not a clone. I'm just one person. I can only do so much, and that's where I focus on my work. Is when I'm at Home Depot, I'm only one person. I can't do it all.
That's right.
You got other people in here. You got different. I come in early shift. You got mid shift. You got late night shift. And I'm to the point like, hey, I'm gonna do what I can do, and only I can do. I can only do so much.
Yes, sir.
And I don't get it done. Guess what? That mean the next man that's coming on the ship got to do it.
Teamwork.
Otherwise, if it don't get done, well, good Lord say the same, and I make it back here tomorrow, and I see ain't nobody done it. I got good work ethic. I'm going to try to do it then. But I'm
Absolutely.
not. I'm not going to overwhelm myself to the point where I thinking I got to do it all because I can't do it all.
That's right.
And that's boy, that's the way it is in life. You can't do it all. You can only do so much. But whatever you set yourself up to do or set you're going to do, stay focused on what you're planning to do. Fulfill action. Do that action there. Get that out the way.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't, you're going to leave someone in the wind. I didn't get around to it.
Right.
But that's because you was towing over here. You're going there. You're going over there. You're going over there. And in the middle, what you were planning on doing still ain't got done.
That's
So
right.
like, you got too many. You can only, you can only, you can only hold one rod at a time. So there ain't no sense in sticking all these rods in the fire. You can only hold one at a time.
That's right. That's right.
So that's to my key to it right there is faith, work. If you don't have the work, you don't do the work, put the work in. That faith, you guys, you can just throw that out the window.
That's
And
exactly.
it's not gonna go nowhere.
No,
You got
sir.
to do the work,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can only do so much.
Yes.
Don't set yourself up for. And I have done it in the past when in my lawn service. Got this project going over here. Got this project going over here. Got this project going over here.
Right. Right.
Get halfway through with this one, then I got to go over here and do this one. No, make one customer happy at a time. Finish this project over here. Now you got that happy customer. Then you can go on to the next customer.
That's right.
Because otherwise, you're going to have 3-4 projects all around town and ain't none of them finished.
That's
That
right.
ain't no good. That's bad business. That's
Yes,
bad
it
business.
is. It is.
Bad business.
I mean, some people call it spreading yourself too thin.
Yes, yeah.
I think I've heard that terminology before,
Mm-hmm.
spread yourself too thin, and that you never finish anything. But what I'm saying, I hear from you, finish one thing, make sure it's done with
Your satisfaction makes it done right.
Make sure it's done
Don't
right. 'Cause that's
don't have do it.
no, don't have to do it. No,
Mhm.
and move to the next project.
Yeah.
Take care of that customer too as you move forward. And you said something about, the smallest act of kindness is
Mm.
greater than the greatest intention.
Mm-hmm.
The smallest act of kindness is greater than the greatest intention. I intended to. Is that your name now? Intended to? But
Yeah.
again, and the person to stop that, Ernest, is oneself.
That's oneself. That's it.
I mean,
Oneself and only oneself, the only one can stop it.
yes,
Can nobody else stop it?
no, and don't, and we'll move on and let somebody else talk too. In this life, you see a lot of people are great starters, but never finish anything.
Never finishing. Mm-mm.
Great starters, but we cannot be that person.
Mm-mm.
If you give somebody your word need to mean something.
Need to mean something.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should even be a contract, between you and that person,
Mhm.
and you have a part of that contract and they have a part of that contract. And we
Mhm.
come to agreements that you gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then we meet in the middle. You get what you want, and I got what I needed, and we move on.
So we move on.
And then move on and allow what you have done to speak for you,
Mhm.
and do it with good character. If both parties don't win, then it's not a good contract. Everybody needs to win. You know,
That's right.
yeah. So folks, we
Mhm.
moving on around the room. Again, awakening from attention deficit and intentional deficit disorder. If it's disorder, it's out of order. And intentional, listen to that word, intentional, and that's what we've been talking about. Awakening from attention. So awakening means I just been sleepwalking through life. You're not here just to sleep. Oh, they'll whatever they want, it'll be all right. Really? It's gonna be all right.
Hmm.
And you're not a part of that. Anybody else? We just want to hear from some more people in the room. Anybody else? Awaken. Okay, somebody was getting ready to say something.
Hey, Joe, this is Darren. I'll try to
Yeah.
chime in a little bit.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
Well, I can't see you.
You can't see you?
Yeah, I see you now. Yeah. Kind of went blanked out.
Oh, okay. Are your camera on?
My camera on.
Okay, but I can't see you.
You can't see me?
Uh-uh.
What about now?
Oh, no, I see Ernest, but I don't see you. But go ahead.
I'm trying to.
No, Jerry, I don't see you either.
Mm-mm.
You see me now?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
I see you.
I don't see you. Where you hiding at?
Dang.
Maybe,
Oh,
but go, okay. But go ahead, Jerry. You were speaking. We'll just have to hear you.
I was saying what the old folks used to say, you can't see forest for the trees.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Slow down a little bit.
Slow down a little bit.
You know, like I said, once you slow down, relax out, it's like a job you're doing. You always want to go back and do a good job. Because if you don't do a good job, that man ain't gonna call you back.
No.
No, he ain't. No,
No.
he ain't.
He said, "No, I'm gonna fool with him." You
Right.
know, I deal with the world every day, you know. But always make sure you do a good job, whatever you do, and be able to communicate.
Yes, I agree.
Communicate, you go a long way. It's like a marriage, you know.
Go
You
ahead.
got because once you lose trust, you got nothing.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I don't care.
But one thing I'm hearing you say, you got to communicate. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to not tune the other person out. You know,
Right.
You got to give that. You know, if you want respect, you got to give respect, and I think that's very important in anything you do. It's got to happen. And I remember my brother Darian was talking somewhat about that last week, and it kind of was a subject. But again, that is a life journey,
Right.
and, you know, and you want to, again, I don't want to sound repetitious, but you can't, the thing you're willing to give, you can't expect it from somebody else if you're not willing to give your part as well, because
True.
everybody want to feel a certain amount of respect, and everybody deserves a certain amount of respect. So, you know, you have to work out your issues within yourself, which you know, and again, maybe get rid of them or put them on the back burner and make yourself a better man and move forward. That's what you can do.
Yeah.
You can do that. We always say you can do you and make you a better you as you move forward. That's the whole idea, being a better you. Yeah. And move from there.
Well, like dealing with peoples.
All right.
Because people like everybody's not gonna do the same thing you do.
No.
You know,
No.
dealing with the public. You know, you got to be meet a man face to face. Of, you know, I'm gonna do this, and therefore he gonna make sure you what kind of work you gonna do for him. Once you do work, hey, that's all count right there.
Yeah.
Trust.
Yeah. Trust and truth. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's important. And in any relational situation, trust and truth. It is in the relationship we have with our Heavenly Father. Yeah. Yeah. I think Darren, you had a comment on a couple things.
Yeah, Joe. Let me see. My little cursor kind of froze there for a second. Oh, there it is.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you guys got me both. Okay, all right. I can't help but to comment on what Brother Stewart said a minute ago about not having but one iron. I'm a fisherman and I love to fish. And when I go fishing, I take 3 rods and a bunch of bait. And sometimes the fish bite, and I put all of them in the ground at the same time. I'm propped up. I'm running back and forth. They cleaning my bait out, and I ain't caught nothing. So when I said I'm just gonna use one, and then things get better. So so I see what you're saying, brother, when you mentioned that about that iron and doing one thing at a time. But I kind of when I first saw the topic, Joe, I almost went in another direction, but I heard what everybody was saying, and then I got it right in my mind. So you guys might have to help me out, because when you start talking about awakening, the first thing that went to my mind on attention is listening and being focused, but or not listening, you know, because sometimes I have in the past not listened to what people are saying, and I just want to say something and get my little 2 cents worth in,
Right.
instead of listening. Even with my wife, she'll be explaining stuff, and she could be colorful. And then sometimes I drift off, and then the next day I might say, "Hey, we gonna do such and such." She's like, you wasn't listening. We just talking about that. Or, you know, in church,
Yeah.
I admit I get distracted in church because there's now to be more focused and talking about attention. We have so much on our minds.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, like there's a lot going on in me and my wife's life right now with
Right.
the kids, with her father. You know, all these things is going on. So you could be in church and your mind be gone.
Yes, sir.
And then you have to bring yourself back. I
Right.
admit that happens to me sometimes more often than I care to admit. But as far as the intentional piece, I know what you're talking about, being intentional, being genuine. But like I said, I had to bring myself back in, because when I thought about being intentional, I say, I intentionally didn't listen to the inauguration.
Right.
I intentionally didn't pay attention to the news. I intentionally tried not to get caught up in the hoopla, the executive orders, and all that fear. Because, you know, God is still in control, and he still
Yes.
sits high. He looks
Right.
low. And then they said in Psalms, I'm young, now I'm old, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed begging bread.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we all will be held accountable for our actions sooner or later, whether it be good or bad. So
Yeah.
I would suggest that you pray for your president, pray for everybody in office and everything that's going on. But that's why I went initially. But then when I heard you guys talking about being intentional and being genuine, like if you tell somebody, hey man, I sympathize with what you going on in your life, and I'm gonna pray for you, and I'm gonna pray for your family like that. You have to mean that and
Yes,
be
sir.
intentional about it, and they have
Yes,
to
sir.
know that you're sincere, because people are not crazy.
No. No,
They
sir.
know, you know, I may call. I think I reached out to one of my brothers up in Maryland or DC the other day, and I sent him a little message, and I said, "Hey man, I'm praying for you. I know you got a message to give today," and blah blah. He emailed me back. or text me back, say, man, I thank you for being intentional. You was intentional when you did that.
That's right. Yes.
So I think that's where you were going with the intentional piece and what
Absolutely,
everybody's
yes.
saying tonight. So I kind of got it wrong at first, but I got dialed back in and pull it back right. So I appreciate you, Joe, and I
Oh, yes.
appreciate that topic.
Oh, yes. But you know, and the thing about it, we learn and not judging anybody. You know, the person that, I mean, you meet them, they're still on the same wavelength. And I ain't saying nothing wrong with going here and under the tree with the fellas playing dominoes, but and nothing wrong with any of that in perspective. But that shouldn't be your life.
Right.
No.
That should not be your life. And then you go in there, and no judgment in what I'm saying here. And you can go, but you have a life outside of that. You can go and have a little fun, but if a person makes that who they are, then they living below their true self, and they wake up one day and they bitter and they angry because, and you should be at yourself because you decided not to live life.
Mhm.
And you are creative being. So, you know, that's some of the stuff, new things that are new things we have right here now that can help us going forward. We know the word, we eating the word, we need to eat the word each and every day. And, you know, and move on in that. So I appreciate you, Darren, by bringing that up, because, you know, the whole thing about the topic is not about nobody trying to be smarter than nobody else. It's just to provoke one to think and
Right.
to provoke us to go to higher dimensions within ourselves. And I'm like you, Darren, I don't watch certain things, you know, news and all of that, because to me, the real news is happening right here, where we can find some sense of strength between all of us to move forward, not over all that rhetoric. There's a lot of rhetoric and a lot of stuff. So I was intentional too, not watching all that stuff. I was spending time, kind of like what Chucky says, you know, you start your day, he says, he go down by the lake and get in alignment with that which is important. And we have to know it's not going to be anything given to us. I don't know why it's something about us that offends those that say they're in control of all of this. I don't get that, but I don't have to. I got to get us and get myself in proximity to God to move forward in the things of God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're here to do. All the other stuff we find, and to help each other in that, and to know we all struggle.
Can I comment on something Chucky mentioned earlier?
Yes.
He said the difference between being lonely and solitude.
Right.
And one of our previous meetings, I think Chucky, I don't know if it was you or not, somebody mentioned something about one of the number one things that Black men suffer from is loneliness.
That's
Was
correct.
that you?
That's correct.
That was you, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The collateral damage of loneliness. Most of us have raised our families. We sacrificed our own personal lives. And now we're at this age where we're lonely. We haven't been able to develop relationships and things like that to pull us out of that. And that's why these meetings are important, at least to give people an avenue to connect and be relational, at least once a week.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember and you hit the nail on the head for me, because being prior military, I was used to being all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you overseas, you develop a lot of, and I must admit, it's primarily Blacks and men and women and families, we tend to get tighter overseas, and you develop a lot of friendships.
Okay.
And you didn't have to be so lonely.
Right.
But as I gotten older, some have died. This person lives over here. This person lives over here. So I find myself being alone a lot, you know, and I lost, and I must admit, as a grown man, African American, I'm affected by that loneliness sometimes, because sometimes I'm by myself a lot. But then, like you said, there's a difference, and I don't mean to get off the topic, Joe.
No, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
all relevant. It's all relevant. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I salute you. We as Black men, sometimes, you know, with our bravado and our machoism, we won't admit that we're lonely. I was surprised that my father, who's 87 now, and I got him situated in assisted living, he will tell me something I thought he would never say, is I'm lonely. You know, and I was like, wow. And that takes courage for us as Black men to admit that we're lonely. But that's why I mentioned solitude earlier. One of the things that I'm glad I've been able to do, and I encourage you guys, is to look up solitude, because there's some comfort in that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And that's the difference I was trying to make to your point is, you know, like the other week, I put something on the grill. I fired up the grill for one piece of meat with just me, you know.
Right, that's right.
In the backyard, but I felt good doing it, but I was by myself. I said, man, I used to do this and there used to be fellas around, but now I'm doing it by myself. But then I know the difference between being lonely and being that solitude time that you need by yourself. And I do some of the things that you do, Chucky, you know, get my coffee, you know, chill out in the morning, read, you know. And some of the material I read may not always be biblical, but I do that too. And now I find myself reading that AARP magazine.
Yes. It's
if I can interrupt you for 1 second, one of the things that I did that was interesting, I started a Facebook group, and I called it the Life Train, and I tried to create a safe space for people to come and to get away from the politics, get away from the negativity, because some of the groups you have people going back and forth with each other. But I mitigate that by administrative techniques. But now I have about 30,000 followers, and for me, it's good to get away from that sometimes. So that's one of the things I would suggest. What I was going to talk about with the technology thing: start a Facebook group if you're interested in fishing. The gentleman mentioned fishing. Start a Facebook group about fishing. You'd be surprised how, if you market it right, next thing you know, you'll have 300-400 followers.
Right.
That's right.
And Joe, I apologize for going on too long.
No, you're not. Go ahead.
Because normally I don't like to, you know, take over everything. But my daughter, she's a nurse. She told me, you know, like during this time of year, it gets dark faster, and everything I like to do, I can't do. I like to be outside. I like to garden. I like to fish. I got this golf group I like to go golf with. I got hobbies. But right now, this time of year, you can't hardly do none of it. So my daughter told me, you got seasonal depression. I said, girl, if you don't leave me alone, I ain't got no seasonal depression, you know, first in denial. But I said, you know, maybe she's right.
But I think, you know, just listen to Chucky and what we're saying here. See, there's a difference between being alone and loneliness. See, loneliness is a disease where you feel like you don't have anybody. Not to be alone, you have to, you know, get away sometime. And you say you read. You're reading a lot. You're growing you without the crowd around, because you have to make a adjustment to grow the person of you. You know, that's why people say, I'm bored. Well, you know, there's no boredom in the universe. You just having boring thoughts. You can create. And that's what you having to do. And I ain't saying I know all the things. I don't know everything. But sometimes you have to create your own inner, because that's where we're going to grow from, is our inner, and understand. Yeah, we like to be around the fellas sometimes, but you can't be around them if they're not here. So we have to improvise and realize that we have to know thyself, be good with thyself without the crowd even around, and know that anything outside of you, you got it all within to make you happy. Some people look for others to make them happy. That don't work. You got to find that within yourself.
That definitely does not work.
No, that don't work. That ain't working. You know, if you think that's gonna work, you thinking the wrong way. Right. So you got to get some level within yourself to get back to your true self. And brother Greg, you're in the house. How you doing?
Good. What about yourself? I got really bad allergies, guys.
Just 1 second. And Chucky, we're going to get back with you in a little bit, okay?
Okay, I'm going to have to leave in a minute. So if we don't get me this week, I'll be back next week.
Okay. We're going and introduce your part, Greg. Can we come back to you, Greg?
Yes, I do apologize. I got some really bad allergies right now.
Okay.
What happens when your solitude becomes your comfort zone?
That's not.
That's a
Yeah.
good
That's
question.
what I'm experiencing now.
Yeah, me too,
And
brother.
it's my comfort zone because, a lot of people these days, there's a difference between people that grew up, during our age grade, our age groups, and individuals that are woke, shall I say. Everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart, and it makes it really difficult to build meaningful relationships with other individuals. And because of, and I can only speak for myself, because of my work schedule, oftentimes I am alone too. So, but I use that to my advantage, and it's become my comfort zone to where it's really challenging to allow other individuals into my circle.
You got it. That's one of my fears is I've digressed so much into solitude that even sometimes I have to make myself say, "Hey, you got a wife, go spend time with her."
Yeah.
I'm serious about that, and that's a very good point you brought up because one of the things I'm telling myself now is, man, you're getting a little too comfortable. Because the older you get, the less drama you want in your life.
Of
And it
course.
seems like
Yeah.
you deal with people, and invariably you got to deal with the drama, And then you got to be kind of careful about what you say because people are so on edge now.
That's right.
Yes.
I might say,
Everybody's
"Hey, brother
feelings
Greg, I want a cup of milk." So I may never see you again because I offended you because you don't like milk, and I said I like milk. So
Right.
To both of you guys' point, and I'll shut up. I have friends that I've known for years
Yes, sir.
that are in my circle. I know guys that I've known since I came in the military. I know people 20, 30 years, and that's all over the US that I consider friends. So to Greg's point, everybody is not to your best interest. You may want to let somebody into your circle,
Right.
but everybody that's out there ain't good for you.
No.
And I'll leave a pin in that and hush so you guys can.
No, don't hush, please. Share your yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So go ahead. I know Chucky had to leave though. I know he had to do his part.
Brother Darren, you're right. One of the difficulties that I find, this is me, my one man, one vote, is you never know when people are presenting themselves friendly, but they have ulterior motives.
Yes,
They're
sir.
trying to get you in the Amway, or they're trying to get to the girl, or something. It's hard to weave through that. That's another one of my challenges is trust. If a brother comes up to me right now and says hi to me, my first thought is, okay, on guard, what's this going to be about? Until I can accept him. Now that's a flaw and a weakness on my part. I admit it, but after you've been burned 5 or 6 times, that Big Mac that's up there on the wall never looks like the Big Mac when you open that carton.
Say that. You're right about that.
Yes.
So,
You can also you can throw family in that too, because not all your family, not just because you're related, doesn't make you family.
Yeah.
And
that's so unfortunate.
some of your family members are betting on your downfall.
That's so unfortunate. You're very right. I'm fortunate and unfortunate. I have a biological brother who I haven't spoken to him in 15 years. And probably never will because of something that happened. But I have non-biological brothers that, man, God has blessed me so much. It's like, wow, this is wonderful.
Right.
I have friends that I know that I can call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and in the spirit of transparency, I can say, hey, man, I'm a little depressed. I remember, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. When I was a young man coming up in my culture, if you admitted to one of the brothers, like, man, I'm a little depressed, so I'm gonna keep it real. That, oh, nigga, get you a drink and a woman. Ain't wrong with you.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember sharing with my dad that I was going to therapy, because oftentimes when you get into certain roles and you do certain things, you need sometimes to organize your thoughts. You need a soundboard, right?
Yes.
I shared with him that I was going to therapy, and he was like, well, why are you doing that? I mean, you can go to church, or you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. I was like, and that's why your ass is crazy today, because you refuse to go to therapy. I just flew out of there. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're not. What are you talking about? Sorry you had that on your mind. Come on now. You talking to Joe, remember?
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway,
Hey,
know,
Brother Joe,
yeah.
Brother Joe, if I may, I would
Okay.
like to just touch on what I want to share with the brothers. It's so important.
Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna put the appetizer out there. And I think that this is going to work out better because once I put this appetizer out there, I'm either going to be speaking to the brothers here, or I'm going to be speaking through the brothers to other people. So I'm just going to make this real quick and then I'm going to have to say goodnight. So right now we got to be careful. We are asleep at the wheel. And we got to wake up. We are asleep at the wheel. We got to wake up. Trump took back, has decimated the EEOC. They took back as you guys know, I'm not telling you nothing you probably don't know, but they abolished the Civil Rights Act that Martin Luther King and Lyndon Johnson brought to bear. And I was thinking about, after the election, I'm like a boxer. It knocked me down. I had to lay on the mat take my 10 seconds to get up. I couldn't jump right up, and I purposely didn't jump right up. I took those 10 seconds to recover. And then I got to thinking, okay, when the world comes tumbling down, we got to make the best of what's still around. And that's what I want to talk about the next time we get together. Now, first of all, I want to put a disclaimer. I'm retired, but I have a side business, but it doesn't pay my rent. And I feel like God gave me these gifts, not to keep to myself and not to retire and say it's over with. Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed one, feed 100. I mean, if you can't feed 100, I'm sorry. If you can't feed 100, feed one.
That's right.
And that's what I want to talk about next week is the importance of technology now more so than ever. Because now there's no more, I don't really think that, I think it was all whitewashing, the DEI and things like that. I think it was just for show. Because I'm sure that you black brothers know the playing field still was not level.
Right.
We are not going to win this battle with guns. We outgunned. We don't run the military, and the police are being emboldened to go against us. I hear brothers say, "Well, I'm gonna take up arms. I'm gonna take up arms." I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've heard.
Yes,
we have to be smart like the people who are in Tulsa and Black Wall Street. We have to be smart like the immigrants that will travel to a job 8 to a truck. We have to pull together. We have to remember that just like in the Army, everybody can't be the general. Somebody's got to be the general, and you need those foot soldiers. You need the NCOs and the COs. And so what I want to talk about is leveraging technology. Now, I do have my own firm. Even though I'm retired, I just do this as a passion. And I know why. Let me give you an example right quick. I've had a very varied career, and at one point I was working with HUD. And at first I looked at it as a job, but then I realized that God had blessed me with the opportunity to make a difference in public housing and in Section 8 and things like that. And I realized that it wasn't a job, it was an assignment. Many years ago, God connected me with another man of God, and this guy took me under his wing, and literally made me be able to offer the services that I offer today. And I know why he did it, because for a time such as this, we have to come together and figure out what can we do. If we can't make $1 million, let's make $10. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to offer up what I'm doing, and if the light bulb comes on for anybody, then I'll provide you with further training. It is not Amway, it is not multi-level marketing, it's nothing like that. What I do is I'll just whet your appetite. I design websites. I do everything from soup to nuts. Everything. I host. I register domains. I do updates. I do social media. I do digital design. And most importantly, I do content. I write the content. For example, if you had a hot dog truck, I have the ability now using artificial intelligence and things like that to make you look like a superstar, make you look like you got the best hot dogs you ever had to offer. Now, some of you may not be interested in it, and that's fine, but you may know someone who needs to understand technology. And the one thing I'll say is, you don't have to do business with me. I'm going to offer you the opportunity to remarket my services, or if you have a business, or if you know someone who has a business, the most important thing you can deal with me on is everybody's out to get you. Everybody's out to get you. Some people will tell you, oh, I can do a website for free. Don't believe that. What do you get for free in this world? Nothing. Nothing. So the next time that Brother Joe, may not be next week, but what I want you guys to do is talk to different people. And let me give you an example of something. I have a ministry. I'm a pastor in a ministry. We have a radio station. It's a global outreach. And one of the things I'm trying to do before I die, I'm 65, and I got to do as much as I can before the Lord takes me away. I'm trying to start a youth ministry. And when I tell people, like talk about Kids Club, our ministry Kids Club, it's an online thing that we're doing for kids. We even use that book, Umu My Cheese, to try to tell the kids the most important thing that they're going to have to deal with is change. And right now, the most important thing that everybody on this line is going to have to deal with is change. Our life is changing.
Yes.
It's going to keep changing for prayerfully in 2 years. We can do something in the Congress and the Senate in terms of voting these people out. But man, fasten your seatbelts. Our lives are about to change.
Yes.
Hear me now and believe me later. So anyway, back to my point.
Chucky, I have a question for you. What today, with Donald Trump back in office, I'm sorry, I went off camera. With Donald Trump back in office and the DEI programs being eliminated in various areas, we know that already happened in Texas, especially for state-ran institutions. What are we doing differently? We've always had to work twice as hard. We've always had to prove ourselves. We've always had to make sure that the content that we're speaking in reference to, that we know it backwards and forwards, whereas other people can be mediocre. So even with what is happening in the administrations and things of that nature and the new policy changes, it's not like we didn't know. It's not like we as a black people haven't experienced this historically. Yes, technology can help us with a lot of things as far as knowledge, as far as building our own toolboxes and all that good stuff. Yes, it can be, but yet and still, if you have individuals that don't look like us, that have the power to say yes or no, what are you going to do? What are you going to use that technology for?
Oh, see, that's a great question. That's a great question. All you have to do is look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street.
I've read the story. I know the history. Yes.
Before they tore it down, we have to stop depending on. I'm gonna keep it real. We got to stop depending on the white man. We got to stop depending on the white man to give us stuff and to we crying about the EEOC is gone. So what? That's why I mentioned Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100, feed one. We have to start feeding ourselves.
Yes.
So with technology, we have to educate ourselves. And you can't say, well, I don't know if he knows what he's talking about, because it's working for the white man. And we have to, like right now, they have something called blackproject2025.org. There's several other Black Wall Street type portals or websites that are providing information how to shop in the Black community. And that's what we have to do. I'm telling you now, I mean it with all my heart. We have to keep our dollars in our community and stop worrying about what the white man is doing and them giving us handouts and protecting us. We have to protect ourselves, but we have to protect ourselves smart, not with guns and thieves, but with technology. I don't have enough time to really convince you, but we're not leveraging technology to depend on the white man. We have to educate ourselves like the white man is educating himself with artificial intelligence, with online marketing, those types of strategies. And we have to come together somehow. Now that I don't have the answer to, because we'll go down the street to the Korean place and pay $400 or $500 worth of hair for hair, and we can do things in our own community. And the reason I kept mentioning,
I have to agree to disagree with you there, Chucky, because not all the time do we, as a people, appreciate business. We, as a people, oftentimes we can go today I was in Walmart, and there was a young lady trying so hard not to speak to me that I spoke to, that was an African-American woman, that she damn near walked into a shelf. The same thing goes with sometimes with business. We don't always offer good customer service to those that look like us. yes, me as Greg Attaway, I want to give my dollar to the Black community, but yet and still, I want it to be received, and I want to be able to get the same customer service that you would give a white person. I shouldn't get different because hey, brother, I shouldn't get a different experience than someone else.
It starts with you, Greg.
Or less than.
It starts with everybody on this line. We can't do, we have to let, and first of all, we're not disagreeing. So we don't have to agree to disagree. I agree with you. I could sit here all night and tell you what's wrong in the fact that we don't give good customer service to each other. But we've got to start somewhere. We can't just complain about what we know are our inherent weaknesses. We can't fall back and just wallow in what we don't do and how we don't act. Somebody has got to step up and say, okay, we understand all that, but let's change. Be a change agent. That's why we talk about who moved my cheese. You got to be a change agent. I mean, you're not going to save the whole world, but if we can save one young Black man, if we can put one young Black man in business, if we can find someone that we can trust, and they're out there. I'm trying to tell you guys tonight, you don't have to do business with me, but what you can use me as is, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Can I bounce this off of you? And I'll tell you, hey, that looks good or whatever. So I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying that I have services available. But Greg, we can't say all women are bad, all Black women are bad, all Black men are bad. There's good out there. And the journey of 1,000 miles, before I go, I'm just going to say one last thing. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And look, we're in a car. I'm in a car with you, Greg. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip that rearview mirror off. I'm going to take it off. Because what we got to do is stop looking in the rearview mirror. And we got to look at the front windshield.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. Anything worth having is going to take hard work. Do I have all the answers? Oh, heck no. But I got a few of them, and I'm willing to share.
What was
So
that? You mentioned a website. You mentioned a website a minute ago. Can you give us that again?
blackproject2025.org. They're just starting that, and there are other portals like that, like the Blacklist and Black Wall Street and things like that, that are giving you pathways to Black businesses. I mean, you still have to look. There are legitimate and illegitimate businesses in all cultures, you know. So don't let the experience of don't let the experience of some brothers and sisters put you off, because there's some good Black men on this line, and you change agents.
Oh, I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying what my experiences have been.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I don't want to, patronize my Black brothers and sisters. It's not like I don't want to do that, but yet and still what my experience has shown me is that not all the time is my dollar appreciated.
Same experience.
So, yeah.
Y'all remember when I used to go into computer stores, and I'm gonna tell you, this is self-hate, but I'm gonna share it because I'm gonna be transparent when I come on this line. This is self-hate. I knew, Greg, to your point, that if I was looking for some new technology, and I'm not gonna say this is a new laptop or new PC, my mind was already prejudiced. If I went to the Black guy and this happened, oh man, I don't know, I just work here, let me get somebody for you. Now you in the computer department, you selling computers, but you got to call this 60-year-old white boy with the tape on his glass and the pocket protector to come and spend time with me so that I can make a wise investment. I go through the same thing, Greg. I do. I'm not making this up. Now, I remember the last time before I started buying stuff online, this very thing happened. I went to a brother. He was in there, and I could tell he was BSing me. What I mean is I knew he didn't know what he was talking about. And finally, I just said, hey, brother, can you get somebody to, and he went on that thing and called somebody over. And this little white dude came over, spent about an hour with me. We want the jobs, but we don't want to learn our jobs.
That's
so
right.
I'm getting preachy now. So
I'll say that. Let me say this. That's so true. That's so true. Because like I work at Home Depot and I sell a lot of lawnmowers, but and I got the knowledge of that. Something I ain't got the knowledge of. I sit there and listen to the guy in the electrician, the guy in the plumbing department, or whatever. When I take a customer to them, because I don't know nothing about this field, but I'm trying to get full off of what he's selling this customer.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times when like I've told some of the some young cats out here at Home Depot, well, how you sell some of the lawnmower? I said, if you just listen to me and watch me, you can sell just as many as I sell. Because there's one thing about it, when a person come in here to buy a lawnmower, heck, their mind is already made up. They come to get a lawnmower. They just want to see if somebody that knows something about it.
Yeah.
And if you listen to me, you take in what I'm finna shoot out to this person, because I know a little bit, not a whole lot, but I know a little bit. You can tell them the same thing, and now you got a customer for life. Now I got customers that come every other year, and they want to buy another lawnmower, but they coming to me because they know I'm gonna give them some feedback.
Right.
But we as some of our younger guys that's in the store, they don't want to take that time to listen, to get that knowledge, to be able to present a product.
That's
And
right.
if you can't present a product, you can't sell it. You got to
No,
be able to present it.
no.
I love what you said, because we can't we talked about this in spirit earlier tonight. You don't have the time to be an expert at everything.
No, you
What you have
can't
to
be.
do is find somebody like this brother and benefit from his experience and his knowledge. And that's what's so important. That's why I'm saying, for me, you don't have to buy from me, but I'm because somebody did it for me, I'm offering up for you. This is one path of self-preservation. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. You can't put your head in the sand. They're trying to fight artificial intelligence. That train has left the station. Let me give you an example. At one point, they wouldn't allow us to use calculators in school. After time passed, you couldn't come to class without a calculator.
You gotta have it.
So you gotta, and now the calculators are obsolete. You gotta find what replaced the calculator, what replaced the typewriter. So we've got to stay on top of things, or life is going to pass us by. See, that's how they're going to defeat us. That's why they're dismantling the Department of Education. Because if you keep a Negro dumb, you own him. You own him. And that's why you're so much, that's why you're so much passion in my voice. It's like, I'm not ever going to be before 1,000 people, but I can be in front of you people. What's the Bible say? One can take 1,000 flight, two can take 10,000 flight. Right. That's why I say I'm talking to you guys, but I may not be talking directly to you, but at least I can be talking to you, that you will tell somebody else. You may hear somebody say, "Oh, hey man, I got to figure out how to market my auto thing." If this guy's riding around with a truck and he don't have www.myautobussiness.com, he already behind.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've needed something and I saw a truck come by and I followed the truck so I could hear it right down the website. Anyway, sorry about my passion, but I'm concerned about our community and us being left behind. And with what's going on now, I'm going to say it one last time. How do you defeat the Black community? You keep it dumb. And that's why they're dismantling the Department of Education. Do your homework. Do your research. There's a meaning behind everything they're doing.
That's right. And like you say, be attentive. Be attentive as to what's happening. Be involved. Not just waiting. No, we are creative beings and we need to share information among each other.
There you go.
You can share it. Everything ain't about making a dollar.
Right.
Sometimes we make a difference. We can do pro bono, if you want to use it in legal terms. Bring it, say, look, brother, this is what I found out. Share that. Oh, I found out this. So so bring something in here to help others. That's what I'm hearing.
That's what I'm trying to do. You know what's funny? I love you use the word pro bono, because the things that I want to talk about that I can't hog the meeting, but the things I want to talk about, there are vultures out there that are literally trying to get you to pay them what I'm trying to share for free. But they set it up and brand it so how to do this, how to do that. And we need brothers to stand up and say, hey, I already know how to do that. Or at least I already know how to point you in the right direction. I may not have all the answers, but look, you can go around this corner and find it. And you have these vultures out here. Look at Facebook. Every few scrolls like how to start your business or how to do this, and they're all scams. And that's why I'm really concerned about our brothers, man. We need brothers to come on here that we can trust. We need psychologists to come on here. We need doctors to come on here to tell us about, especially as Black men, because there are medicines and things now that white men don't know these negatively affect Black men. You know, this medicine that you're prescribing for a Caucasian will actually do damage to a Black man. We're not, physiologically, we do have differences. That's why I'm so glad that God pointed me to a Black doctor that has diabetes like me, that tells me things like, yeah, this works for this culture, but it don't work for our culture. All right, brother Joe, I know you get mad at me, so I'm shutting up.
You can tell I'm mad, man. I'm so mad. Can't you tell? But yeah, definitely, Chucky, we can talk about that going forward. And any positive entity we can bring into the room, we need to entertain that. So you have a good night, and glad you were able to come on, okay?
All righty. God bless you, brothers. Take care.
Right. Likewise. Greg, and I know you talked about you had a project and kind of the environment you work in, and everybody don't look like you, and it's an environment where the majority probably want you to fail and all of that. So you in a whole, go ahead.
Yes, yes, I was agreeing with you. Yes, the summary was correct.
And that in itself is what do one say, a tough pill to swallow or whatever. So you have to bring the higher dimension of yourself into play so you can stay within yourself. And that takes, I'm sure, prayer, meditation, self-preservation, what all you have to do to improve the person of self. And I think you have to know your subject matter. I think if any of us bring anything into the room, know your subject matter before you speak. Or otherwise, it's just that. And, you can feel, at least I can, and we've been knowing each other a while, that you won't be defeated by that. But I'm sure it's a struggle. And, you brought up some situation with your dad before. And again, he can't understand, and I ain't saying I know everything, but what was good for him is not good for you. Right. Whatever you got to do it for Greg.
Right.
And if he don't understand that, it's upsetting because he can't put himself where you are.
That's true.
Does that make sense? I mean,
yes,
and I ain't saying I know everything. We talking, I'm just saying, and it's upsetting because I think I hear that you want some support, but you can't get support for somebody not willing to listen or understand. This was good for you. This is what I need for me. And I don't think therapy or needing that. You got to know what you need to balance you out. And you don't want to blow up in the wrong place.
Well, and I will tell you, and that is a struggle that I definitely do work on because, of course, and how do I paraphrase it? In the software development area, it's very competitive. It's always competitive. Who knows the most? Who brings the fresh ideas? All those types of things. And then when you're a leader, and then you have everyone that politically thinks differently than you, right? You have individuals that come into the office that have their MAGA hats on, or they have some type of reference to Trump, knowing good and damn well that my policy for the department is no politics, no pay. You don't discuss that because it causes problems. I don't always follow Michelle Obama's principles as when they go low, you go high. I don't always do that. Right. That is something that I do need to continue to work on with myself. And that is one of the reasons why I chose therapy, is to help me organize my thoughts. Because if I'm constantly under attack and I'm trying to redirect it, and it's not happening and I'm constantly being attacked, sometimes I engage.
Yeah.
I give you what you asked me for.
Right.
You know, and that's something that, you know, that constant, like, you know, trying to be the bigger person, being quiet and all that kind of good stuff, because, you know, I do have a division. I do have individuals that look up to me or that report to me that I have to set an example for.
Right.
And it is normal in the software development and engineering profession. You cuss. You're blunt. I mean, we talk crazy to each other, but it's not like it's anything that I'm not trying to tear you down. It's just how it came out, you know, kind of thing. Get some tough skin. But not everybody can handle that.
Right.
And that's one thing, even though I've been doing it over 20 years, I mean, that's something that I need to grow in, that I know I need to grow in.
Okay.
Because if you keep poking the bear, sometimes I give you what you ask me for.
Right.
I do. And I'm honest about it.
Yeah. So working and realizing basically what you need to keep you going forward. If that therapy is that, then you pursue that. You intentionally pursue that to keep yourself grounded. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the support is, how important is that in coming into maybe a setting like this to speak some positive things into you? Is that, do I not?
It definitely helps.
Yeah.
Especially to hear other men that have been through or have experienced something somewhat of what I'm, you know, to hear that, to hear people talk that positively, because again, like I said, oftentimes I'm either learning something, teaching something, or, you know, whatever, you know, so I'm by myself quite a bit. So, you know, to hear that, to fellowship with the other individuals, to hear their thoughts and things of that nature, it helps.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, you know, I've always saying in this room, none of us is as smart as all of us.
Wow.
And I think, you know, not that we laugh at all situations, but sometimes we have to laugh at our own situation to keep ourselves balanced. And
that is true.
I mean, it is, man. You may, well. You said, man, that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? I'm talking to me. And
you know, man, that was me coming back from the office tonight. I was like, you know what? You really and truly did not have to have them do that like that. You really did a lot, you know. So I get it. I did talk to myself on the way to the house, because I did make the team, you know, hey, we've been working on this root cause analysis ever since noon today.
Yeah.
You don't have it by midnight tonight, keep working. I'll see you in the morning, you know, because you're trained professionals. I shouldn't have to wait 6 hours and pay penalties because of an application failing. It was stupid.
Yep.
You know, so I do talk to myself, because sometimes I can be a hothead. I can.
Well, admitting is good too. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right. That's open, and that's letting some of that out too. You know, and it's all good, and to know. I think the thing to know, and again, none of us, and we've said it. It's not even perfection here. We're trying to perfect love, and sometimes it's hard to love people that's poking at you. And what did you say about poking something? You say in a minute you're gonna retaliate or something of that nature. But
keep poking the bear.
So, you know, I mean, even with all of that, you say, wow, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Well, it happened or whatever. So what is my point? We get better. No such thing as perfection.
Yeah.
You know, we try to be more loving. We struggle in areas, and we all do. So to hear that in a room setting, I think to some degree saying, well, I ain't by myself. You know, others struggle with situations because of where we are in this paradigm. But to know that we can get better, move forward, maybe be the best person I can be, or the best you can be, that helps the cause, you know. Yeah. But, you know, we kind of coming to the close. I'm glad you were able to get in here.
Thank you, sir.
And hopefully we took some from here, maybe had a couple of laughs, whatever, no charge. You know, no toll, none
Yeah.
of that, and that helps the situation. I know it's helpful for me because, again, I say this, and if anybody in the room want to have a few thoughts before we close out, we can understand this: pressure on a pipe will burst.
Yeah.
That's true.
You gotta get some relief, or you gonna go off and do something you don't want to do, and we don't want that. Anybody? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That is one of the reasons, because when you see yourself slapping the piss out of somebody, I mean that lets you know that you've gotten you need to
yeah.
So
You allowed that to pull you out of view,
absolutely.
and so that's.
But then again, I have to think, well, is that me? Because you were poking the bear, and
yeah.
But I know professionally.
But I guess how much poking do that bear take to lose that?
It takes a while.
Okay. Well,
I'm not as quick-tempered as I was back in Tyler.
All right.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that. Not at all. You thought I would think that about you? Of course not.
No, I'm saying.
But anyway,
have no therapy though.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But it's good to come in, and again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, to share, have a few laughs, and and then we go back to what we got to do, and by some means necessary, we gear up to it and move forward. Anybody else have any thoughts before we leave the room?
It's nothing wrong with having a little therapy though.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's like years ago, I was out there, got on drugs and stuff. Therefore, you have to go rehab. Except took care of.
Good for you.
It's a very, very thin line between insanity and sanity.
Okay.
Very thin line.
All right.
And there's nothing wrong with little therapy because we all need it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But no black folks do not get no therapy.
And that was along the lines of what my dad was saying about,
Yeah.
Because in his age group, that was a sign of weakness.
Yes, that's right.
And it's like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sometimes they say when a man cries, it's a sign of weakness.
But
if you see me cry, or you see that one single teardrop out of my eye, run.
You might be.
Yeah. But
when you start crying, it mad.
But Greg, the thing about it is your dad is under that old paradigm.
Yeah.
It's an old paradigm, and to understand the where you are in the now, he'll never know about.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when you laid back in the country and nothing wrong with it, that era, you didn't have as much pressure on you as you in a whole new setting. You probably got more people in the company than it was in the city. That it was in the city so small. What are you talking about? Yeah, everybody, cousin them, cousin Jack, cousin Woodrow, cousin Jolene. Who else? What kind of pressure do you really have?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's a whole different paradigm there. And if you under the old, it's old.
Yeah.
There's a new paradigm. It's rising up out of us because we don't do things the way it used to be done. That's kind of like trying to put new wine in the old skin. No, we ain't doing that no more.
No, let me write that one down. That was a good one. Let me use that.
Yeah. It don't work. You got new wine, put it in a new wine skin. I ain't telling you what to drink. You can drink what you want to. We're gonna put it in the old wine skin. It don't work, man. It's a new day. New day. People don't know that, but they need to. Anyway, Anybody else got closing remarks?
Just
So-
keep moving forward.
Huh?
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, you all right? My last comment is just keep moving forward.
All right.
That's all you can really and truly do.
Yes.
That's it.
Brother Bell,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just listening and just taking in everybody.
Okay.
Like everybody was saying, I think I heard a gentleman say it be slow to speak and swift to hear.
Right.
And from taking in everything that I heard on tonight, all very great information from all of the men, the men of all calibers of God, if you will, on tonight. The one thing that it just kept reoccurring in me as we are talking about this attention deficit disorder is we as men carry a great deal of inspiration. We have desires to achieve so many great things. We are truly, truly inspired to do whatever it is in our branches of life. We are inspired,
Mhm.
but we lack so many applications.
What do you mean by that?
We lack the ability to apply what we're inspired by.
So we're saying application, inspired and applying the inspiration. Is that what you said?
Exactly. This attention, these things that we gravitate to on all these different planes of excelling to a higher place of learning. I heard the brother talking about that, excelling in trying to accomplish our goals and achieving our goals, and so many things get laid to the side because we pick up one thing and we put it down. And I heard one brother saying about completing that one thing and then going to the next thing. And all these things are part of the inspirations of what we desire to do. But the application or what we fail to put forth the effort always falls extremely short because, as they say, knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
But how we use the power that we've been given to do, as the Bible says, that he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above
Right.
what we dare to ask or think.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this. According to the power that's worketh within us.
That's right.
So these applications that have been given to us is where we continue to fall short in. And so we've got to not only learn, but become more aware of what we're inspired by to the point that it becomes doable in our addressing of the things we inquire or inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense with what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you are.
Okay.
But, yes. Go ahead.
And so that struggle between I want to do this, I want to be a more excellent person, I want to be a more excellent man, I'm an excellent husband, an excellent minister, or whatever branch you strive for in excellence. This place of what we hear so much has got to somewhere go from our mind to our feet in the movement of the things we do. And like one brother said, I go to the lake to start my inspiration. I go here, I go there for these
Mm-hmm.
inspirations. Like I said, it's nothing wrong with being inspired. We are
That's right.
all inspired. But
Right.
then it becomes the part that we lack in the work that we have to accomplish in this is where we have to kind of get past that mental approach. And no matter how much we inspire, and I'm done after this, no matter how much we strive to be inspired by, that element of I got to get up and do it.
Yes.
I got to get up and do it becomes the breaking point of the change that we're looking for from being attention deficit disorder, going over here, doing this, doing that, doing all these things, we go from that place to the active place. And then we really start to see the fullness of becoming the man that we totally strive and inspire to be like. So, amen.
Yes, that makes a lot. That's putting it in the order of, and you can see, it's kind of like you can see the forest for the trees, because like you saying, the order and anything that which you are intentional about, your interest will go in that direction, because that fuels that. If you're intentional about, like I was saying, about being healthy, then you start to look at things that are healthier for you, because your intention goes there, and that's what drives you to that what you're trying to achieve. Appreciate that. That's Brother Alvino Bell, you all, that came in on the line. And we appreciate the input and the inspiration, because that's so important in this arena of the news reel, REAL. That's what we're trying to be. We're not trying to do the REELS. We're trying to be real up in here. Yeah, we're not doing that other, because all that's fake news or whatever you want to call it. But anybody else before we get out of here tonight, and just hopefully we came into a place and we leave a little better with some things off our heart. And that makes the time spent here worth spending the time. And I want to thank each and every brother for coming in, and always welcome in the room. You're always welcome to say something, or you're always welcome to listen. We're just trying to grow and learn together. You know, what does the statement say? Rise together. No. Wake up together, rise and achieve. We're all are soldiers. We're all are warriors. So train well. Keep training. Don't stop. Any other comment before we call it a night? If not, what's that?
Everybody have a blessed rest of the week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. Brother Alvino.
Yes, sir.
Will you pray us out, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Eternal Father, we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for this moment. We thank you for those present. We thank you for those that desire to be here, God. We thank you for the visionary over this as well. And God, we thank you for all the input that, God, we be not just hearers, but also doers, God. We thank you, Lord, for excelling into the areas of what you anticipate us to become, God, and all the resources that we gather, God. We thank you that it be a nourishment to our body, God, that we become affiliates of what it is that you desire for us, God. I ask you that you would bless each individual man on tonight in their prospective places, God. I thank you for my brother Joe continuing to put the best foot forward to helping us as men become better men for you, God. And God, even in their prospective homes, God, I think that you give them all peace and rest in God, and give them vision for where you have for all of us to go in the forthcoming, God. And I thank you that each hand that you blessed, that you would touch and create prosperity in their hands, God, for whatsoever they find to do, let it be effective in that, God. Thank you in advance, God. We bless you. We thank you for the grace to keep us in these days coming forward. Until we meet again, we thank you for it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
Amen.
I want to say good night to everybody on the line. And again, thank you for coming aboard, and have a great evening. Okay.
Good night.
Have
You
a
do the
blessed-
same.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless everybody.
Have a good one, man.
All right. Likewise. Wait a minute. with this again.
Dadgummit.
We're gonna
Yeah.
get it there. Hold on.
It's probably every night. I mean, every